Will Ospreay to AEW. We spoke about this on Saturday, but I did get to hear his portion of the press conference on Saturday night. And basically he spoke about this was as much about, taking this step in his career while also being able to stay in England with his girlfriend, with his stepson, not having to uproot them and move them to the US, which would have he would have had to if he was going to WWE. And it really does come through that he does not want to divorce himself from New Japan Pro Wrestling. And it's, to me, I would say like that is a big negotiation point that AEW has, is that they can be this level of flexible. I'm sure it's incredible money that he is signing for. And I mean, it will be somewhat cumbersome that, I wouldn't imagine he's there every single Wednesday or Saturday, but there for a lot of them. And that's a hell of a commute when you're going across time zones for even if it's several times a month. But I mean, that's sort of been the last decade of his life, is just living on airplanes.
I was going to say maybe a little bit easier than, the trip to Japan, but I think this at least will maybe call into question his activity for AEW. I mean, maybe the closest comparison point we have is Pac, who, similarly, I believe lives in the UK. And I don't know the last time we saw that guy. I have a feeling
it's been a combination of injuries, but also visa issues. Like, he's had tons of hiccups, and he's disappeared for a long time.
But I have to imagine like a signing that I think is as maybe, heavily discussed and heavily hyped as a Will Ospreay will be relied upon a lot more. So I think you can expect him pretty frequently, at least on pay-per-views, if not maybe getting away with as many pre-tapes as he can, so that, he can have a constant presence throughout the shows and build up to those pay-per-view matches. But I think it's a decision that makes all the sense in the world. Clearly the man is incredibly loyal to New Japan Pro Wrestling, but he's kind of grown out of what everything he could achieve over there, but still wants to not completely divorce himself from it. But it's the living situation and maybe the attachment to family. And I think he mentioned his girlfriend being able to see her parents and everything. That makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah. And I think there's a silver lining too. He is someone that has found his appeal to so many different companies as like this big match performer, that I think it benefits AEW and Ospreay that he's not wrestling every single week on TV, that his matches should be a big deal. You want to balance. I don't suggest a just pay-per-view schedule, but like his matches should make them feel as special for as long as you can. And if that means, you build up to a big TV match, well, it means that much more, rather than, he's announced that afternoon he's taking on X, Y, and Z.
Do you think there's any more activity from him within companies outside of New Japan and AEW?
My gut would say that it's going to be greatly reduced. I could see him. This gives him the option that, Rev Pro has an anniversary show that he goes and does. I would think he's going to be more selective with what he does. Right. This is someone that, I mean, this guy has an unbelievable drive to produce these matches. There's such a high expectation level that I think you do want to make sure that you are dedicating all of that to your main employer. And I would say, like, I think he's done with G1s. I can't fathom the idea of AEW allowing him to do a G1, especially when you're going to want him on TV to build up All In next year. He is going to be the focal point of Wembley Stadium. So I think the days of Will Ospreay and the G1 are done, which is a big hit to that tournament. But yeah, I think overall, given that he is 30, I might have a different opinion if he was 35. But at 30, I think this is a great move for him. And he did not have a bad option here. I mean, he could have gone to WWE and it doesn't work out, but he still would have made a ton of money and been seen by a lot of people. And then, you know what, when that contract's up, you're still in your mid-30s, if that.